Welcome back to Dork Points, everybody. This is Ron, and it's another first-person shooter spotlight, starting with the boomer shooters this time. The Spy Who Shot Me, a loving tribute to the Sean Connery era of James Bond movies, and I think a little bit a tribute to GoldenEye as well. It has that era of gameplay style. I mentioned this in the previous video, but I had to beat it before I could really come to a decision about it because, God, some of the levels are just, ugh. And then you have fun stuff like this, where a guy is hanging on your legs as you do a big giant skiing level. and then there's some boat racing. There's a bunch of stuff in this game. Let me say first that the level design is pretty great. It is from level to level, and there are some very plain levels because of this graphical style. Some boring levels, definitely more so at the beginning of the game. But it's hit and miss level by level. But it's just like, look at this. Speaking of level design, and there's a big hedge maze on the outside of this, so some of the levels, they really just knock it out of the park. As far as the gameplay, though, I wouldn't recommend this necessarily for people who like boomer shooters. I would recommend this for people who've actually played old school PS1 N64 games, because the aiming is a little slippery. It's like an old school shooter before they had it all nailed down. The game is extremely difficult at times. There's only normal and hard, so... Alright, moving on to Bloodhound. Kind of along the same lines as the Spy Who Shot Me. Bloodhound is a total throwback to very old games, and it has that look, and again, it plays like it too here in a second when you see my shooting. Yeah. they're almost very similar in style, but yeah, it looks kind of like a cheap old school game, and at first it does feel a little cheap, and kind of like Spy Who Shot Me. Some of the levels feel really simple and repetitive and plain, but then, man, you start getting into the game, and like, clearly these guys loved like Doom and stuff, and it gets really cool. And speaking of like level design, like, look at this. For how cheap this game feels sometime, yeah, these guys really did a bang-up job, I think, for a game that I don't think is above $9 ever, and it's fairly new, and I think I got it for, I don't know, $3.99. So yeah, I mean, for a cheap game, this is if you like boomer shooters and you like old school, again, more so old school shooters, you're really gonna love this. And I really did love it myself. I would say between the two, I would pick this over Spy Who Shot Me if you're thinking of getting one. Alright, moving on to Daylight Dread. This game was brand new and was 99 cents. And when I looked at the images, because they didn't have any video in the PlayStation Store, when I looked at the images, I kept seeing the same zombie in every image, the same character model, this guy. And I got that sinking sensation of just like, oh, this game, brand new, 99 cents, is it just going to be shooting the same zombie over and over again? And yes, it is. Also, it's one level. And also, you can't die. Even though the screen turns red when the zombies are hitting you, you just don't die. You could stand there and just be hit over and over again endlessly by a zombie, and it does nothing. But, I don't know if it's only $1. And, even though it's only one level, it does have a good look to it. Alright, moving on to Nightmare Reaper. I decided to pick this up instead of Dusk, and I regret my decision. The game's great, but I don't necessarily, like, when it comes to throwbacky stuff, this isn't really throwbacky. This doesn't remind me of an old school game. This reminds me of Minecraft visually. And also, it's a roguelike, so every time you die, you come back and the level is different. Now, I've noticed sometimes, especially with this level I'm playing, I would die and come back, and the level would be different. But then the next time I died, I would get the previous level. So even though it's supposedly randomly generated, I don't think it is, because I kept getting the same level in between other levels. The upgrade system in the pause menu is Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. Also, there's a Pokemon game. Again, in the pause menu of this video game, in order for you to upgrade your stuff. Look at this. I mean, this is the upgrade system. I don't know. You know, it's good and bad. It's a mix, but I guess the biggest problem is the biggest problem is that there is not a glitch necessarily, but there are these guys. Oh, and that's funny, I say glitch while the screen looks frozen. No, that's just the way you die, and then you return to your hospital bed, by the way. So you're a patient and you dream every night. But anyways, the biggest problem I had is I got an upgrade, and as you can see, I'm shooting, and the bullets are coming back on me and hurting me. So at the end of every level, there's a doctor, and you can pay him to upgrade your weapon. I had never done it, and finally at the end of level 9, I decided to buy an upgrade for my cool weapon. He broke my weapon. Apparently that can happen in the game. They never tell you that. So now I have one weapon in level 10. You can do different runs and save different runs, but for this run, getting all the way to level 10, I only have one save. And the weapon I have to start with kills me when I fire it. So, I don't know, I put the game down. I was so mad about it. And, I mean, you know, again, level design, because it's randomly generated, I don't know if I can really judge it. And, shooting does feel good, but there's almost too many bad guys in one room sometimes. It's overwhelming, it's hard. It is rewarding at times, but man, this whole thing where your weapon can just be bugged and your save is ruined? No, thank you. Done. Alright, moving on to I'm talking over this so I don't get a copyright thing. You can't hear it, so we're okay. Alright, now, this is a retro game. It's a remaster as well, but we're kind of moving into the retro game category now. Starting with Dark Forces, I was so happy this went on sale. You know, it's a remaster, so they can only charge so much for it, but it went on sale within a month or so there, and was $20, so I picked it up. And I loved this game back in the day. You know, Doom was cool, but this was like the thing I loved. It was the first time I got to immerse myself in a game into a world that I already loved and liked and wanted to be a part of. So it was really cool for me. I played it to death, even though I never owned it. But yeah, the story is okay as well. It's not totally brainless like a lot of these old school shooters. You know, they're sending out dark troopers and you got to stop them. The level design is so good. It's terrific. The gameplay is great. It looks great for what it is. You know, it is very hard at times. There is an easy setting, and I did have to use it twice in the game because it just got too hard. But overall, I think I played through everything, including the final boss on normal. But look at this world here, just so old school, so beautiful. This is the thing that the boomer shooters are missing. You know, it's not about making it, you know, so complex and interesting and blah blah. These old school games were simple and yet beautiful. Alright, moving on to Star Wars Republic Commando. Yeah. Alright, so this game is chaos, if you can't tell from just the sounds of everything exploding. You control there's four of you, and you're the main guy. You're kind of like the heavy gunner. And then you have 3 teammates, and you control them and send them to different locations. Oh, also, it's voiced by Jango Fett himself, which just adds another layer of authenticity to it. So yeah, you're all Jango Fett clones. You're the clones in the Clone Wars. And each one, there's a sniper, there's the heavy gunner, like I said, there is a bomb expert and a tech expert. So it's really cool, and you have to use each of your characters. Also, you know, it being such an old school game, I'm shocked that, you know, commanding 3 NPCs, it was annoying at times, I'll admit. But for this era of gaming, like, for it to not be a totally buggy, messy mess is shocking. They really, it's really a high-quality game, and they really cared to make it not just fun, but also challenging with the way you disperse your men. Like, I set that guy right up in front of one of the big droids, and of course he's dead now. But you can revive him and stuff like that. But, you know, my biggest problem with the game is its length. And I guess this is a spoiler alert, but basically the end of the game is just a total cliffhanger. However, even though there's only 4 or 5 levels, all the levels are huge, and each level will take you, I would guess, at least an hour to get through. And for the most part, the shooting's okay. I did not love the shotgun that you're seeing there, but otherwise, good game. Alright, moving on to Red Faction 2, and I believe in my last video I played Red Faction 1, or talked about it. And yeah, you know, it's great, all the destructible environments. Again, there's only certain areas where you can do it. It is pretty limited for its time, but it was groundbreaking then. People were excited about it for some reason. Now, it's weird, because this game kind of gets a lot of grief now, compared to the first one. Everybody talks about the first one like it's a classic, and talks about this one like it's kind of a little bit broken. It's okay. I saw a review where the guy was complaining about how bad the NPCs were, and then how the bad guys were all bullet sponges. But that was just the era of the game. And, you know, if you use the right weapon like this, it doesn't matter. Anyway, watch this. Boom! Just his legs left! And they drop. I mean, a game that can do that is, you know, for this era of gaming, you know, it was kind of groundbreaking. I guess I do prefer the first one over the second one, but there's so much here that is affecting the next 10 years of gaming. Like the idea that you get in a mech, and then you're driving, you're flying, you're using a helicopter. The next 10 years of gaming after this game, they were all kind of aping this whole experience of just like different varied levels and styles of shooting and playing. And it's just fun. Alright, moving on to, I did a trilogy. Now, I've played these before, but it's been 10 years. Or 8 years, maybe. Maybe for the new Colossus. I think the new Colossus is only 8 years old. But that's right. This is kind of modern, kind of retro, because these games are a decade old. And it was so weird playing this again, because there were so many iconic levels I remembered from the first game that are actually in Old Blood and New Colossus. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do love the level design for New Order, but I really was shocked at how many of these levels I played, and I simply didn't know them, and I was like, where's the level where we do this? And no, next game, that's where it was. The hub world is great. There is one iteration of the game, if you pick the young guy storyline, Let Him Live, you will drop acid with Jimi Hendrix, and it's awesome! Now, all the games have an old-school version of Wolfenstein in them. New Colossus actually has the original version of the game, so I would say that's the best way to play it. The Nightmares and the other two are okay, but this is the way to play it. Now, let's move on to Old Blood, which, you know, when I originally played it, I was shocked by the fact that it turns into a zombie-killing game. And it's so good in some parts, but I have to admit, the zombies are pretty boring. Except for the dog zombies, Yeah, except for the dog zombies, all the other zombies, you could literally just stand in the room with a pipe and just, yeah, like that, and just smack each one over and over again. They barely attack you. Some shoot, but that's about it. So that's kind of lame. Yeah, you could just stand there with your pipe and just press hit, and you would be fine against the zombies. Now, also, I should mention, the end boss of Old Blood is not great. It's pretty super cheesy. It's just like a giant mummy robot monster. He comes up over the edge like King Kong and tries to smash you with his hand. It's not great. But what is great is the footage you are seeing now. That's right. We are actually in, and this is the only game of the three, I believe, that does it. It actually returns you to Castle Wolfenstein. Now, return to Castle Wolfenstein. Bethesda, can you please remake that with this graphic quality at least? Return to Castle Wolfenstein, please. Such a great game. That's my favorite of all the Wolfenstein games. But if I had to pick a second, I think it would be this. I think it would be Old Blood, because I just love this whole... It's about a third of the game, and it's just great. Now, let's move on to New Colossus. The difficulty for the first 5 or 6 levels is really severe, because you're injured and you're in this suit that's kind of barely keeping you alive. Now, eventually, I guess spoilers, but you lose your head and then you get a new body and then you have 100% health. But man, even on normal, there's some really hard levels right at the beginning of this game that I was kind of shocked by. Beyond that, it's good. The ending still, I don't know about the ending, but a great game otherwise. All right, now moving on to Far Cry 6. This was, I guess, it is a first-person shooter, obviously. But, I was just kind of playing this while I was doing all my other first-person shooters, not really thinking about it as a first-person shooter. This whole system they have in place for Far Cry, it's like you play one, you play them all, which is good in one way, but bad in a lot of other ways. It's like playing, it's just a augmentation of the same product over and over again. And if I'm honest, as much as I love 2, 3 is pretty good, and I love Blood Dragon and Primal, but that's about it. Didn't like 4. I hated the ending for 5 and a lot of the characters in 5. And this one, again, kind of bores me. But it is great to just jump into this game, and that's kind of the reason I've been playing it for, I've been playing it on and off for like a month or 2, and I just go in on nights when I feel like shooting somebody in the head, and I just go in and I find like one of the bases to take over, and and I just kill everybody. It reminds me of Just Cause in a way, where it's like you see the plot and you just kind of, at least for me, I'm sorry to say, but I see like the cutscenes and I just kind of, ignore them, watch something on my phone, maybe skip over them. Oh, you do get a pet alligator though, which makes this an amazing game. But anyway, there you go. Captured! Yes, Far Cry 6. Alright, and the final game of the night, it's Valley. And at first glance, this is a walking simulator. Charlie and I mentioned it in a video. We just didn't quite know what to make of it at first, because the first level, this is the first level, it's kind of blah. It's visually even. It's just kind of blah. Okay, I'll be quiet for a second here.
Welcome to the Pathfinder program. As a Pathfinder, you will be tasked with operating and testing the newly developed Leaf suit as our hard-working scientists at Pendulum develop new ways to empower our troops fighting the war in Europe. With the power of the Leaf suit, you will be able to perform unimaginable feats. Leaping high into the air. Sprinting as quickly as a cheetah. Even manipulating life and death itself are part of the many stunts accomplished by the Leaf suit.
Alright, I hope you enjoyed that very Bioshock, very Fallout cutscene. Now, as the game goes on, look at this. Look at how beautiful this game gets. I don't know why they chose that area as the first level. Maybe they just presumed people would, you know, go further along than the first hour of the game, but oh my god. Yeah, like, me and Charlie played it, I just put it down, I didn't think I was going to play it again, and then all of a sudden, you know, one night, I just said, I want to see if something happens in the next level, and then, look at it! It's kind of a shooter, kind of, that's a big stretch, but yeah, you're shooting energy at energy things, and that's how you kill them, with good energy, and then they turn into good energy balls? I mean, there's really no enemies or anything, and, you know, for the most part, it, at least at first, I thought it was a walking simulator, and it is, in a way, but it's more like a platform puzzle solver. And as the game goes on, there's all these jumps and precise little moments you have to get from one area to another and figure out how to kind of solve the physical platforming puzzle of the land itself. It's interesting. Valley, check it out. Alright, that's all the FPS games I have played recently. I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Dark Points. Goodbye! Do not adjust your television set. I return. Or I never left. So, some updates. Yeah, these videos take a while to make, and since finishing this video, a few things I've gotten further on and thought about and realized. Starting with Wolfenstein New Colossus. You know, I didn't think about it at the time, but man, the whole beheading thing, it's really the jump the shark moment for this game, and I always wondered what it was, if it was the ending or what it was that left a bad taste in my mouth, and it was this. Also, there's a courtroom level that just ends up being a dream that is so supremely hard, even on easy. It's just hard as nails. So, you know, it doesn't ruin the game, but yeah, this is a jump the shark moment. Also, Valley, it kind of turns into a first-person shooter platformer. Lots of portal feelings, too. You can climb up walls now and all sorts of things. But yeah, enemies do eventually appear. They're kind of little spectre-y things that fire bullets at you. It's not just energy blobs. There are still the energy blobs, but these are weird wraith-like creatures, and they're starting to show up more and more. So I'm really digging Valley. Check it out. It's a slow burn, though. Oh, and I am starting to play for my next video. I bought Ziggurat. I bought Polyboy War. That's going to be the cheap, weird game. I got Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. Now, I thought this was going to be complete trash, and it's a little trashy, but I don't know. I'm really digging it so far. Just, of course, getting into this game now, but I'm so excited to come back with more information on this. And finally, yes, I did it. I bought Dusk. I did it. It's actually pretty good so far, even though all the screenshots of in the PlayStation Store, all the videos, I don't know, it just made it look like a low-res Quake. I was just never interested in it, but after playing it now, I get it. It's pretty cool. So that will be in my next video. Hope you're excited, and goodbye!